Hi guys, Pete Mazzaris, the Home Inspector Mentor, here to talk to you about tools and equipment for home inspectors. What is needed to start your business? Start doing practice inspections, start doing fee-paid inspections. Altogether, your equipment is going to be less than 500 bucks, easy. And so the most expensive and necessary piece of equipment, I would say, is uh, an extendable, foldable ladder that's going to get up to 17, 18, 19, 20 feet. I think ours are 18 foot ladders. They are typically the little giant ladders. The reason why I like the little giant ladders is because they're lighter, a couple $100. These days, probably a little bit more than that with inflation. But the thing about those ladders is that they'll fold down and fit in a Toyota Corolla. If the back seat folds down into the trunk, fit in the back of any SUV, and they will extend up for any inspector to get up on a walkable first story ranch house. So anything beyond that, I think is for me personally dangerous. We don't use any ladders larger than that. If there are um, roofs that are only accessible, I'm sorry, not only accessible, but they are, let's say, two-story roofs, or for colonial houses where you can't get up on the first floor roof and then get up on the roof above that via a 5 foot step ladder, then we don't walk that upper roof. And of course, it's up to you if you want to use a drone to inspect that upper roof that you can't uh, access. You can obviously view that roof to some degree from the ground with binoculars, and you disclaim in your report that you weren't able to see all of the roof sides and flashing because you couldn't get up that high. Okay, so is a drone a necessary piece of equipment to start with to start your inspection business? I don't think so. That's a few $100 purchase. I do advocate eventually getting and using a drone, but having one, unless you know how to work one or you already have one, is not required. But it would be a nice to have. I would get a drone camera before I got a sewer camera, and before I would get a thermal imaging camera, which I don't think is necessary at all. So getting back to the ladders, that's the first ladder. The second ladder that I like to have is a either a 4 or 5 foot, I think it's a 5 foot fiberglass step ladder. Typically those are, I don't know, $70, $80, and those will fit in your back seat of any car. And those are nice for being inside the house. And so you can access most attics with a 5 foot step ladder. Anything higher than that, then that's where the larger little giant ladder would have to come into play, because I don't think you can use a telescoping ladder for a high up uh, uh, attic hatch, because there's nothing to rest it on. Although I'm sure I could be challenged by that, but I think the step ladder, folding ladder, would work well for very high up attic hatches, because it opens up like a V, right, or inverted V. And so beyond the ladders, the next thing would be obviously your circuit tester, three-pronged ones with the red reset button for tripping GFCI outlets, and a voltage ticker, which is a non-contact voltage presence alert device, and those are sold in most hardware stores. So that is definitely a handy tool to have. Obviously, a good screwdriver and a power screwdriver. You don't have to get fancy, in my opinion. A $20 power screwdriver is adequate for opening most electrical service panels and plumbing access panels. Next thing I think that is important are the conductive reading moisture meters, the ones that are they're based on just simple conductivity. I know that they're not the several $100 moisture meters that contractors may use in order to determine the true moisture content of wood, drywall, or masonry. But I really don't think um, for a new inspector, that's really necessary. A lot of inspectors don't even use moisture meters in their business. It's not required by any of the standards. We advocate their use because we think that just gives your client a better, more thorough home inspection. I don't think it brings on any additional liability, at least in our experience. It hasn't. It's always helped us. Um, as far as liability goes, and it allows us to be more thorough. And so there's two types of moisture meters. There's the pinless or non-contact meter, and then there's the pin or contact meter. So both of those meters, I think, cost anywhere from $30 to $40 each on Amazon. There's plenty of them available. And again, they work on conductivity. If you were to put them on a metallic material, they would read as wet because it's based on conductance and inductance. And so the moisture meters, the pin moisture meters, I think are necessary for determining foundation moisture, especially in carpets that are in basements. You can stick those contact pins into the trim wood or the carpet tack strips, and you can also use that same meter with a pair of needle nose pliers, which I think is important piece of tool for pulling up corners of carpets. Yes, I know that goes against our non-invasive philosophy, but if you do it right, you can pull up a corner of a basement carpet with needle nose pliers by a couple inches, and then read that corner for moisture pretty easily, and then retack that down with a screwdriver. Simple, nobody would even notice that you did it, and I think that adds an extra detail of thoroughness for your buyer. Of course, that's up to you if you want to go beyond the non-invasive recommendation that our standards all promote. So those are the two moisture meters, very affordable to get. I also like a IR infrared temperature gun for reading high up ducts and heating registers. So if you have an airflow duct for a supply vent that's in the ceiling or several feet up where you can't reach it, and you want to verify that it's supplying either heated, conditioned air or cooled air, then pointing a IR temperature gun at it would verify that very easily versus having to get a ladder up and go up and feel it yourself. And so those are $20 or cheaper items. I think that's important to have in the toolkit. And then speaking of temperature devices, a meat probe is what it's commonly called, but a temperature probe with a metal probe on it with a digital reading is, I think, useful for measuring the temperature drop across evaporator coils when you're, assessing if an air conditioning unit is working properly. And so you can't use the IR gun for that. You have to use a probe for that check. Excuse me. Obviously, you need a high-powered flashlight. Back in the day when I first started, they didn't have these LED flashlights, so we had lower powered, battery powered handheld flashlights, and then we'd have to get like the large lantern flashlights that they would sell at Home Depot and Lowe's. But nowadays you don't need those. A simple powerful LED flashlight for 10, 15, 20 bucks off of Amazon allows you to light up any attic space and any crawl space. So I think those are the main handhold tools. I might be missing a couple of them, but they're certainly not that expensive to acquire. Discretionary tools that you could keep in your bag would be If you wanted to have a combustible gas detector, not so sure I would pay much more than $50 for a combustible gas detector. I really don't think it's necessary, because all we did with ours is just simply pinpoint what we already detected with our nose. And so, not that big of a deal to have. Same thing with a carbon monoxide detector. Those can be more expensive. I had one for years and really never had it identify an issue that I didn't already know about with my eyes, by observing, whether a heat exchanger was cracked by, observing flame movement in the burner chamber. So, carbon monoxide detector, I don't think is that important to have. I don't think thermal imaging cameras for starting home inspector is important to have. Those can be very expensive. Yes, I know there's cheaper ones. The cheaper ones are only really going to show you if something's heating up, in my opinion, such as boiler radiators and floorboard heaters, electric heaters, in-floor, in-cement, radiant heaters, coils. But I think an IR temperature gauge for $20 is going to do the same thing. If you want to use a thermal imaging camera to find, hot spots in electrical panels, or potential leak spots in roofs, missing insulation, you're going to have to buy a much more expensive instrument for that. And are you going to be able to charge more because you have that? Are you going to get more business because of that? Based on the inquiries that I get from customers, I haven't found the need to spend thousands of dollars for a thermal imaging camera. So I don't think it's that important. I think getting a drone would be more important. I think getting a sewer camera would be more important after that, because you can monetize the sewer camera. And so these instruments are all typically, you're able to fit them in your tool belt, and you should have a tool belt. I think it makes you more efficient on site, because if you don't have a tool belt, then you're constantly fishing through, your inspection bag. And so, some of these things that you wouldn't use as often as a powered screwdriver, you might want to keep in your inspection bag, just so you know that you have it there. Like I always used to keep my favorite tools, a untwined coat hanger and a crowbar. Now, don't ask me what I use those for. Okay, that's a trade secret. Anyways, hope this is helpful, guys. Hope everyone is having a good day. Take care.